Yes! Golden Knights, another injury, yes! Oh, hey, I'm Doc Faisal, orthopedic surgeon with Move Smarter Health. We are sponsored by an educational grant from Kinesi Movement. I love sports, I love talking about injuries, I take care of shoulder and knee injuries, and I operate and treat on them, and please consider this an educational, informative video only. Here we go. I'm not happy with any injury, but it's the Golden Knights, so it's okay. No, it's not. Carter Hart. Looks like he had some kind of a knee injury. I mean, you saw how he kind of like flipped over, landed, and then he twisted. Looks like it was a pretty interesting twist to his left knee. We don't have all the details. In fact, we're not going to get much details oftentimes with some of the hockey injuries unless they announce a specific injury, surgery, or treatment. But we haven't heard anything about that so far yet. So what could it be? We'll find out soon in the next episode of Clueless Hockey Injuries. Isn't that what it feels like? You know, it's like lower body, upper chest injury. We don't get a lot of information. Why don't they just do what the NFL does and, I mean, announce mostly everything? I think the challenge, of course, is with hockey is that the interaction of the players is so much closer, and any player can interact with any other player. Like in NFL, so it's not like you're going to get a defensive lineman who's going to, you know, all of a sudden run down a wide receiver who's already in the end zone, right? So, but in a small arena, you could get the biggest, baddest, meanest defenseman knocking out a forward or a center, right? So I think that's why, I mean, that's what I have read and understood, that they just want to keep it a little more vague most of the times. I mean, a lot of times, obviously, if they're having had a specific MRI diagnosis, treatment, and surgery, they are pretty well announcing it because it affects them, but sometimes you don't know. So we don't know what his injury is, but it looks like if he did land and twist on it the way he did, could he have had some type of an anterolateral? Could it have even been in more than just like maybe an MCL? Was it just in the coronal plane, single plane, isolated MCL? Was there some anterolateral component to it? Could it have gone a little more posterolateral, or just like a pivot shift, but your skate leg goes out and you tear part of your ACL, or it's just a mild sprain? Maybe a mild MCL. We don't know. It was limping off the field pretty badly, but there you have it. That's all we know. That's all I'm talking about, because that's all they give us. We'll do what Stephen Colbert does. Oh, thank you. Bling. What am I doing?
I know. This is your sport.
That's it.
I know, they don't give you nothing.
That's all they're telling us. Lower body injury, week to week. So maybe it's just a grade 1.
Yeah. So if it's week to week, it's definitely not a tear.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All we do know is that it's week to week. So the likelihood is it's a mild MCL sprain. I mean, knee injuries can hurt. You twist yourself and it can feel horrible. Maybe it is a mild grade 1, grade 2. Maybe it was a grade 1 injury. We don't know the details. But if it's week to week, the odds are it's not a significant tear. It's not an ACL. It's not anything major that we need to be concerned about. So just scratch out what I said earlier. I'm just kidding, because it's part of it is you don't know, right? You have to kind of guess. He limped off, pretty sore injury. But yeah, here's hoping he does a good recovery. Sounds like it may just be a sprain of the knee, mild MCL. Who knows? But it's the Golden Knights. So I guess they'll be back.
I don't think I've asked you this question before, but because it's a foot, it's supposed to, your foot's supposed to do certain things that align with the rest of your body, and it's on a skate.
Mm-hmm.
Does that put more pressure or anything on the knee when the skate's in the ground, or does it act as enough of a platform that everything still operates the same as it's supposed to?
Well, Essentially, the answer is yes and no, right? So the greatest engineer in the world has told me that on so many questions I ask him, yes and no. And in this case, it is yes. Now, if you think of your foot as a platform, and you think about the central platform, you got a keel and you can go either side. Like if you think about it, your foot planting and, sure, okay, we don't have the ability to do this. Some do with their feet, but you're essentially like this and you're in a closed shoe box. But if you're on a non-hard walking shoe, like something green that Joey's wearing over there, right? You can kind of softly capture some of the curve of your mechanics, right? So your rotational torque and mechanics, you can kind of offset the overall propulsion and your overall body kinematic alignments into the foot and allow you a little bit offsetting lever arms, right? Otherwise, you're pretty well stuck to one fixed point because that's a hard surface. Let's assume it's a tightly wrapped skate with a hard surface. So your toes, foot are kind of like one free body, right? Free body diagram. We're going back to high school physics, right? So it's a free body diagram. It's solid, right? So there's only just one point. So then you're creating an extra lever arm from the skate outwards of a few centimeters, couple inches to where the edge is. So there's the central pivot point, but then you're also creating a lever arm. And could that transcend all the way up? Well, maybe not transcend, but transmit all the way up? Absolutely. Does it create a little bit more, does it create more forces? Well, it's not that it may create more forces, it's just that you don't have the overall body kinematic neuromuscular impedance that sort of softens the blow that otherwise occurs with a hard, rigid knock or sudden collapse. Because if you're on an edge, it'll suddenly go down, so you have a sharp pivot point upon which to lever. Right? So that rotational, the torque vector could be more acceleration. It may have the same torque, but the acceleration speed at which, well, torque is acceleration in a rotational manner. So the torque may be higher even though the force, but it's accelerating, so the torque is faster, right? So even if it is the same force, it does potentially create more injury mechanics. So that's true. Does that complicate things? Yeah, but I just kind of like work through the mechanics a little bit to try and explain that. And sorry for bringing up the free body. You can thank my high school teacher for that.